Hi, I'm David with EV World News. Talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm here today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
It's going fine. Thank you. Oh, the sun started to come out finally. Nice. All right.
Oh, good. I'm really wondering if I'll be able to get my grass mowed this week with the rain we've had going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so folks, today we're supposed to have a special guest, Phil Harrison from UBCO Motorcycles. We're going to talk about the National Park Service, but he's running a little bit late, so we thought we'd go ahead and get started. And we're going to talk about a couple of other topics. First off, we're going to talk about the Olympics and Tom Cruise, and he had a unique
Yeah.
motorcycle going on here called the Live Wire, right?
Yep.
And let's see what we got here. If we've got much in the way of pictures, don't know if we've got much in the way of media on this.
My wife has been watching these ceremonies. I haven't devoted a lot of time to the opening and closing ceremonies, other than when they replace the torch cauldron with the hot air balloon, for the Mongolf brothers. And then I happened to walk in and she was watching the closing ceremony just as Tom Cruise comes sliding down that cable and then gets on this takes the flag, gets on this motorcycle and roars away. And I'm thinking, I'll bet that's electric, because they have tried to do different electric things there. The boats, for example, that went up the Seine River.
Yeah.
That was electric. The German company Velocopter wanted to do air taxi service in and around the Olympics. That got nixed for apparently public concerns and things like that, and a lack of the certifications that they needed. But there was that, and then of course when there's Tom, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's riding this motorcycle. And of course, he's famous. He does these wonderful, exciting, pulsating movies. And they replicate that, of course, with this closing ceremony. There he is, jumping out of and then landing in LA and introducing the site of the next Olympics. Well, I got to think, this has got to be, I bet it's electric. And sure enough, this morning I found an article that in fact says, yes, it was electric. It was a live wire electric. It's one of their newer model electric motorcycles. And of course, live wire is a spinoff of, ta-da, Harley Davidson.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was started by Harley, and they were having some I don't know, understand all of the business rationale what went on there, but they decided to spin it off of Harley, and that's the motorcycle that they used for that sequence of introducing LA as the next Olympics in 2028. And there's another electric connection there that we could talk about. But anyway, I thought that's got to be an electric, and sure enough, it was electric. So that's kind of cool. So we had electric boats, electric motorcycle, and we could have had an electric eVTOL, but that'll have to wait for the Olympics in LA in 28.
Oh, the Olympics are going back. Where would they host the Olympics in LA? Do you know what part of this?
Yeah, it looks like they're going to use the same stadium that they used
Okay.
in what was it, 96 or whenever they held the Olympics there. Looks like it's going to be at least from the shots that they showed in this Tom Cruise, mini thriller. It looks like that it's going to take place somewhere in that area around. And that was, God, that stadium that goes back to what, the 30s, something like that, when they had that. I don't know. I'd have to refresh my memory, but anyway, yeah. So they got a nice little plug for an electric American electric motorcycle maker, which is cool.
Yeah, I bet they don't bring the Olympics to Kursk anytime soon.
No, I don't expect it. In fact, I came across an article this week that is saying the number of cities now that could actually host the Olympics, beyond the question of the economics. I mean, I came across another article that argues that they're just not economic anymore. We just can't do what we've done in the past. But this makes the comment about the fact that global warming is happening with such an increasing pace that it will become difficult for many cities to take and be able to host it, just simply because it's held in the summer and it's at the peak of the we're getting these extremely high temperatures. You've got ocean temperatures now in the Mediterranean that are 30 plus degrees centigrade.
Mm-hmm.
That's bath water for a sea. That's bath water. And we're seeing that happening more and more. So the question is, where are we going to have it that the athletes don't suffer from heat exhaustion, because so many of those events are held outdoors. The swimmers, they'll be okay, but the guys that are triathlons and running and sprints and all that kind of stuff, that's going to be a problem for them.
Oh, Grand Forks, North Dakota is the obvious choice.
Well, I'm thinking why not Greenland, right? I mean, and the northern regions of Canada, where
Winnipeg. Winnipeg's really cold.
Winnipeg would be, great summer location for saddling for these things.
Yeah.
Or we hold all the Summer Olympics in the future are held below the, south of the equator.
Yeah. Seattle would be a fine place for it too. Seattle doesn't get, I know they're getting warmer, but it's got
the Puget Sound there and the ocean too. And that's the comment they made about LA, is that LA has the moderating effect of the Pacific, the cold water, coming in. So that would help moderate the temperatures there. But that's the kind of cities you're going to have to start looking at anymore, just simply because of the climate and the pace at which it's warming.
Right. All right. Let's talk about South Korea and their electric battery fire. I know we talked about this, what was it, maybe a month ago?
Yeah, we've talked about the problem of electric fires and how rare they are. They are really, really rare. But in this particular case, and nobody exactly sure what happened, it was a Mercedes EQE that was sitting in a parking garage. Apparently either was being charged or was completed its charging cycle and was 90, 100% full, and then just suddenly the battery blew up. And it started a fire inside the garage that ended up destroying or damaging something like 100 other vehicles parked in the garage. The investigation is underway as to why that happened. Of course, there's not much, left of the car. It's just charred. So how much they'll be able to figure out. But what has happened is that the Korean government is demanding answers. What's going on here? Parking garages have now implemented restrictions on what cars they will allow in the garage, and so this is the first time that in this case it was Mercedes-Benz Korea, the company that sees and manages the sale of Mercedes there, that actually listed the company that manufactured the battery, and it was a Chinese battery manufacturer whom I've never heard of.
Ferasis or Ferasis Energy.
Right. Yeah, they're number 15 among world manufacturers of electric vehicle batteries. I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about their quality control and if they've had past issues. We just know that something happened with that battery, and it short circuited and went up in flames. So
23 people were hospitalized due to smoke inhalation.
I hadn't seen that, but that's wow.
140 cars damaged. Ferasis did not immediately respond to requests for comment. So here's statistics from South Korea. So they've had 1,399, we'll just call it 1,400 fires in underground parking garages in a 10-year span. 43% were attributed to vehicles. So 57% of those underground parking things, fires weren't caused by vehicles.
Mm.
And it said that let me see, of those car fires, electrical sources were the cause of 53% of the car fires. Now, that has nothing to do with EVs.
No.
Okay, that's just saying, because most of your car fires are something to do with the electrical system that somehow sparks and catches fire.
Right. Short circuits. Yep.
But this one's kind of interesting because you're saying this battery, the article I'm looking at didn't mention it exploding, just said it caught fire.
Right.
But it doesn't really get too much into, that one-off situation. But a series of EV fires occurring in underground parking garages have been linked to growing consumer distrust of EVs, which could prolong the current EV downturn. What downturn?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, this was an analyst at Samsung Securities calling on the industry to come up with measures to reassure.
Nope, we lost your audio.
Yeah. Calling on the industry to come up with measures to reassure consumers. Well, we don't know who this Ferasis Energy is, other than we know that they're a big battery maker, but that was what this Mercedes had in it. And, perhaps it's, we've talked before, when you switch to LFP, you really don't have the same fire risk. And all the new, almost all the new battery chemistries that are coming out are somewhat, I don't know if they're fire immune, but they're certainly less flammable. But the fact that these fires happen, the fires happen far less frequently, but when they do happen, they can be more extreme.
It's difficult to extinguish them. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and we don't always know that some of these fires haven't. A gas car didn't catch fire and it didn't move over to it, but I don't know. I don't know how a battery powered car, even if you were trying to set it on fire, from the outside, would really do anything. Because I've seen pictures of like a Tesla that's had gasoline poured on it and set on fire before.
Yeah. Again, it's an ongoing investigation. How much they'll be able to learn, there's forensics that, and I would imagine that in some degree, forensic of electric vehicle fires is probably a newer side of that investigative, technology or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Was it a fairly new car? Was it a fairly newly installed battery? Had the guy, hit something on the road and didn't pay attention to it and park? I mean, there's just all kinds of questions that we have to get answered yet. We do know that the industry is aware of the problem. They're working on it, and it's this is expensive and injured a bunch of people. Hopefully, all those people will be all right. But none of us want to see this happen. We just don't. I mean, I've got how many let's see. Over there, I've got 2 electric bicycles in the back room there. Over here, I've got an electric bicycle. Upstairs, I've got 2 more electric bicycles, a hybrid and an all-electric car. I don't want any of those to experience any problems. In fact, I just assembled my wife's electric bike this weekend. And so we had to put it on the charger because the battery didn't come pre-charged, or if it did, it was very low voltage in it. So I was very careful. I put the charger on the deck of the steel deck of my table saw, and I constantly was checking the temperature just to make sure that it was operating, within a safe range. Because I don't know this company, I don't know the battery that's in it. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night with our smoke alarms going off and a fire going on in the garage, which is just not that far from our bedroom. So these are all things that, all of us are concerned about, but not overly so. Not that I'm, going to spend sleepless nights worrying about the electric vehicles in and around my house.
Right. No, I get that. All right. Let's talk about Ford and their EV power thing they're doing down in Texas. So this seems.
Yeah, I saw this article and I thought, well, first of all, what is TXU? So I had to ask Pi for me, my friendly AI assistant. Who is this? And of course, it's Texas. It's a Texas It's a Texas-based retail utility. I think it's the largest in the state. So then I got that out of the way, and then I took a double take at what the off peak goes from 7 p.m. to 1 p.m. the next day, and I'm thinking that can't be right. Isn't that supposed to be a.m.? And no, it's p.m. So what they're doing is they've partnered with this Ford's partnered with this Texas utility to offer its Ford EV owners free, quote unquote, charging between 7 in the evening all the way through the night into the next morning and past the noon hour to 1 o'clock. So it's 17 hours window that you can charge if you're a TXU utility customer and own a Ford vehicle. And it's Mustangs and Mach 2 or the F-150 and their hot plug-in hybrids. Allows you to get that electricity free. Now, what they mean basically, and I didn't see how they track that. In other words, is there some way that they're sending a signal to TXU that this is from an electric car using it? It wasn't clear on. But apparently what they do is they rebate you off of your electricity bill. So I guess they figure you've used 50 kilowatt hours to recharge your Ford, and then because it happened between these 2 hours, we will rebate you back that off of your regular utility bill. So I think that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, well, I think Texas with their Texas is unique in that you have like 100 different energy companies you can order electricity from. I think all of the utilities are like that. I think they're like that way with
it's all deregulated.
Phones and cables and all kinds of other things. And so there's probably a little bit more flexibility to do some things here. There was a link for free EV miles for Ford drivers. Let me see here if I can share this.
Something to do with the app too, apparently. So,
yeah, free EV miles for Ford dealers, free home charging, and $350 in bonuses with an electricity plan made just for your Ford EV. Let's see, free charging from 7 to 1. That's interesting that it's from 7 p.m. to 1 p.m. You'd think it would be.
Well, that's what I've been saying is I said, what, how can that be? But that's because your peak demand for electricity happens in the latter part of the afternoon till the early evening. That's when there's the most electricity demand. So all that other time, the overnight and early morning, is not the same level of demand. So the utility company can afford to basically give you that electricity so that they've got the capacity to handle that 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock electricity peak. That happens every day.
And this applies to the Mach-E, the F-150 Lightning, and the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't need a special charger. That's kind of cool. You can just do level 1. Let's see. Yeah, that's a pretty cool deal, though. I mean, not having to worry about.
Yeah, it's pretty innovative.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that it's only Texas. You'd think they could do it in some other places, but
they roll it out, and I mean, as you mentioned, Texas is unique in that they have this free market of electricity. Unlike here in Nebraska, we got a choice of one utility in Omaha, right? Now, I'm very happy with that utility, and I think they do a damn good job. And we probably have the lowest electricity rates on a customer scale of anybody in the country here. So I'm not objecting. I'm not saying let's shift over to the Texas system because this is we're a publicly owned utility. So we have a say in how that utility is run and managed, and they have a mandate to provide Nebraska customers with the lowest utility rate possible, right? So I'm good with that. But getting, there are, the Detroit Edisons and the California Edisons and all these other corporate-owned utilities, that might be something they can take a look. Warren Buffett's companies, right? Could maybe take a look at this too. So we'll see. But it's a good start. Maybe it'll encourage more people in Texas to go electric, and certainly to consider Ford EVs.
Let's see. You gave a little plug to a Bay Area company finding success in the used EV market, helping consumers. I wanted to kind of cover this because we talk sometimes about companies selling used EVs. And, I was seeing something, our guy in Salt Lake City, he sold at least 1,000 used Teslas. He says he sells over 100 a month that qualify for the $4,000 tax credit.
And I bet we helped him get that notoriety, didn't we?
We certainly helped him. I'm sure our endorsement was much bigger than the Seattle Times or the New York Times.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, with our global reach.
Right.
But anyways, I mean, he's killing it. But let's see what we've got here. This was a CBS story. A Bay Area company's finding success selling used EVs, helping buyers find affordable secondhand vehicles. Now, one of the things, if you're in California or what was the other one? Colorado's big, Seattle. You have so many incentives. You're silly if you're looking for a used car not to buy an EV unless you're just in some ridiculous situation where you just can't charge it. You can't charge it at home. You can't charge it at work. There's no level 3 charger near you. At home or work, you just need a level 1 or level 2 charger. But if you don't have either of those, you got to have access to a level 3, or else it just, it's not a great situation. But the one they've got here is a company called Ever. It's a EVER, is a used EV dealership which buys and sells online and in person in San Francisco. And let's see what they got. And they're talking about price cuts and federal tax incentives for new and used EVs have made going electric more affordable. They have a mission of building the biggest EV store in the United States. And let me see. The founder is a guy named Max Quertormus. It's probably Quartermus. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's spelled Querter.
Apologies if you're listening.
Yes. So in May, according to Edmunds, the average secondhand EV sold for $32,000, down from $56,000 2 years earlier. That's a huge drop in used EV prices.
Which is great for consumers, but it sucks if you're Hertz.
Yeah, it really really got burned. Hertz bought all those Teslas at the peak of the market.
Yeah.
Because at that time, if you had bought a Model 3 the year before, your Model 3 was worth more a year later than what you paid for it.
Right, because of the
significantly
COVID.
more.
Yeah.
Because of COVID. And there was times people were selling. I knew lots of people, not just both gas cars and EVs, they were getting offers to sell their car to like somebody like CarMax for more than they'd paid for it.
Yeah.
And because they were so desperate for inventory. Anyways, let's see what we've got here. So car analysts said inventory of new and used EVs is increasing. Even better news, the immediate $4,000 federal tax credit at the point of sale for qualifying used EV purchases at registered dealerships. Let's see. They said that their EV inventory is up 25% year over year, but the sales pace continues to outrun growth in inventory. Well, I guess that's not surprising. I mean, you look at if you were running a dealership like that here, the only thing you'd have is the $4,000 federal. But California has incentives for people that make under a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
And they're not, for some reason, this article does not get into detailing some of those, but you can get, I think, up to another $3,000 or $4,000 from California. And we talked about that situation where the lady got in Colorado got a Nissan Leaf for $700
$700, right? Yeah.
after $7,000 in tax credits. Yeah. So now the way the federal one works, though, if the price goes down a certain amount, the max amount they'll do is 30%, I think, of the sales price. So it was $7,000. The max federal was only $2,100. So the rest of that $7,000 was
Colorado. I think,
it was Colorado money. Yeah. But still, it's pretty damn impressive to see something like that. It certainly puts some big opportunities out there. I mean, I even saw, what was it? The guy in Salt Lake had a really nice Toyota Prius Prime plug-in hybrid for $15,000 after the $4,000 rebate.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, those are hard to find. And he only sells things that have a perfect Carfax and, things like that. So he's got a pretty reputable way to do things. But these guys don't talk about the battery thing, like with Recurrent. What happened there?
Oh, I accidentally hit my laptop. So.
Oh, okay.
Not to worry. No, we have.
Well, you had there's an earthquake in Western Papillion.
Right. Yeah.
We're good over here in Eastern Papillion.
Right.
Anyways, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I've really got to cover here, because our guest
is not shown yet, huh?
Yeah. So hopefully he's okay.
Well, what? Oh. Yeah. If you want, let's wrap up, and then if he comes in, you and him do the interview together. How's that?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think we're good. Folks, we're sorry that our guy from UBCO, we're going to talk about electric motorcycles today, and
he's giving what? He's giving something like 100, donating 100 to the National Park Service.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a cool concept, but
yeah.
Use for
maybe rangers to get around and do their patrols, and maybe if there's an emergency, they can have little Red Cross kits on the bike, and help people that may have got cut or attacked by a grizzly or
you never know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could sneak up on a grizzly.
Well, it's generally the other way around. But,
no, I know.
Thanks everybody.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back Bill and I will be back on Thursday. We'll be back with Mike tomorrow. Have a great day.
Adios.